In the huge council chamber on the neutral world of Vara Prime, thousands of alien species sat in a giant circle. The room was dark, except for glowing lights above each seat. Holograms floated in the air, showing maps of stars and planets. The air felt cold and still. No one spoke loudly. Everyone waited. At the center stood Delegate Vorn from the Kalorian race. He was tall and thin, with skin like smooth silver metal. His eyes glowed soft blue. He raised one long arm. The room became completely quiet. "Today we finish the vote," Vorn said in a calm voice that came through every translator. "The planet called Earth in the Sol system has been watched for many cycles. Our probes have sent back clear data. The humans there destroy their own air and water. They build weapons that can break whole worlds. They fight each other without stop. Their numbers grow too fast. They are not ready for the stars. They are a danger." Some aliens nodded. Others looked at screens that showed pictures of Earth, blue oceans turning gray, forests burning, cities covered in smoke. One image showed missiles flying in tests. Another showed crowds arguing in streets. A delegate from the insect-like Zeth race clicked its mandibles. "We agree," it said through its device. "Class 7 Extinction Zone. The rule is clear. If a young species threatens the peace of the galaxy, we act. Sterilization is the only safe choice." No one argued. One by one, the glowing orbs above each seat turned green. The vote was done. Earth was marked. In 47 standard cycles, about 4 Earth years, the sterilizer ships would arrive. They would send beams that burned everything on the surface. No life would remain. No plants, no animals, no humans. The planet would become a dead rock floating in space. Vorn lowered his arm. "The order is given. Courier drones will carry the news to all registered worlds. No appeal. No delay." The chamber lights dimmed a little. Aliens stood up slowly. Some talked in low voices. Others just left through glowing doors. The decision felt normal to them. They had done this before to other worlds that grew too wild. It was the law. It kept the galaxy safe. Far away, on the small blue planet they had just condemned, the night was clear and cold. In the mountains of Colorado, Laura Bennett sat inside a simple observatory. The building was old, with a big round roof that opened to the sky. She was alone tonight. Her team had gone home hours ago. Laura was 32 years old. She had short brown hair and wore a thick jacket because the room was chilly. She liked the quiet up here. No city noise, just the hum of computers and the soft wind outside. She looked through the main telescope. It pointed at a dark part of space. Stars looked sharp and bright. She checked her screen for new data. Then, something strange appeared. A pattern of short bursts came in on the radio dish. Beep, pause, beep beep, pause, beep. It repeated over and over. Laura frowned. She played it again. It did not match any star or pulsar she knew. It was too regular, too clean. She saved the recording and marked it as unknown signal, possible interference. She leaned back in her chair and drank some coffee from a metal cup. Maybe it was just a satellite or a plane messing with the equipment. She had seen odd things before. Nothing ever came of them. She did not know that the signal came from much farther away. It was not meant for her. It was the start of the courier drones spreading the news. One drone had passed near Sol on its way to another system. Its broadcast leaked just enough for Earth's old dishes to catch a whisper. Laura typed a quick note in her log. Anomaly detected at 0217 local time. Repeating pattern on multiple bands. Low strength. Will check tomorrow. She turned off the main lights, leaving only the red ones for night vision. She locked the door and walked to her car. The stars looked the same as always. peaceful, endless. She drove down the mountain road. The headlights cut through the dark pines. In the rearview mirror, the sky stayed clear. She thought about her warm bed and tomorrow's work. She had no idea that in distant halls, beings with silver skin and glowing eyes had just signed a death order for her whole world. On other worlds, the courier drones landed. They opened like flowers and projected the same message in every language. Earth marked for destruction. Class 7. Sterilization in 47 cycles. The news spread quietly through trade stations, fleet bases, and home planets. Most aliens shrugged. Another primitive species gone. The galaxy moved on. But in hidden corners, a few listened harder. Some remembered old stories about young races that surprised everyone. They wondered if this time would be different. Most laughed at the thought. Humans were too small, too new, too broken. Back on Earth, morning came. Laura woke up to sunlight through her window. She made breakfast and checked emails. Nothing urgent. She decided to look at last night's data later. For now, life felt normal. In the galaxy, the clock started ticking. 47 cycles, 4 years. The sterilizers were already warming their engines in distant shipyards. Big black ships with long barrels that could melt stone from orbit. No one on Earth knew yet. No alarms rang. No leaders met in secret. People went to work, kids went to school, cars filled the roads. The world turned like always. But high above, in the cold dark between stars, the verdict waited. Silent, final, sure. Until one day soon, that silence would break. Weeks turned into months. The Grand Assembly Hall still stood bright and quiet on Valor. But inside, everything had changed. Delegates no longer waited for elder orders. They asked questions. They waited for answers. The Covenant machines still hummed in the walls. They could still stop ships or freeze weapons. But no one feared them the same way anymore. John Carter and Laura Bennett lived in their small quarters. They could not enter the main chamber. Guards watched the doors. But that did not stop the meetings. Delegates came in secret, through back halls, through service tunnels. Sometimes 1, sometimes 10. They brought news. They brought hope. One night, Elara arrived with a small group. Her silver skin looked tired under the soft lights. She carried a thin data pad. The border worlds talk openly now, she said. They form councils, not armies, just groups to share information, to help each other. They use your words. Humanity will not kneel. It spreads like wind. John listened. He nodded. Good. Keep it peaceful. Keep it clear. We want change, not blood. Milo touched his big ears. Some want more. Some want shits. Weapons. They say the elders will push back hard. John looked at them all. If they push, we answer, but we do not start it. That is the line we hold. They left with quiet nods. The spark had become a steady flame. Then the real break came. A mixed fleet. Krell ships mixed with Vorath scouts moved toward the human colony on Haven again. This time larger. 10 ships. They sent a clear message. Disarm your defenses. Leave the Red Planet, or we enforce the Covenant fully. The human governor answered fast. This is our home. We stay. The fleet closed in, shields up, weapons charged. 3 human cruisers moved out to meet them. Small, old, but ready. Behind them, civilian ships, transports, mining haulers, formed a line. Not attacking, just standing. Families watched from windows. Children pressed faces to glass. Across the galaxy, screens lit up. Delegates in the assembly stopped mid-sentence. They stared at the live feed. Thalix sat high in his seat. His crystal body glowed a deep, angry red. The Krell commander broadcast again. Stand down, or we fire. A human captain answered. his voice calm. We defend our homes. Fire if you must, but know the galaxy watches. Silence stretched. Long. Heavy. Then one small ship from a neutral world, a green-furred farmer's transport, moved forward slow. It stopped between the fleets. No weapons, just a voice over open channel. We stand with Haven, not to fight, to say enough. Another ship joined, a Xeran scout, then a silver miner hauler, then more, small ships, unarmed, from different worlds. They formed a wall, not metal, just will. The Krell commander hesitated. His fleet held position. Thalix watched the feed. For the first time, doubt showed in his light. He spoke to the chamber. This is madness. They invite chaos. But few listened. Eyes stayed on the screen. Then the elder fleet pulled back, slow at first, then faster. Engines flared. They retreated to the edge of the system. No shots fired. No damage done. The chamber exploded. Cheers from small species. Shouts from others. Thalix stood still, his body dimmed to a faint blue. John watched from his quarters, Laura beside him. She smiled for the first time in weeks. They blinked, she said. John nodded. Because they saw the truth. The covenant cannot hold if no one believes in it. The next day, Thalix called an emergency conclave. Every species was invited, even the suspended humans. John walked into the Grand Assembly Hall for the first time in months. Guards stepped aside. No one stopped him. Laura walked at his side. The chamber was full. Small species sat straight. Elders looked smaller somehow. Thalix spoke first, his voice low. The peace we built lasted 1,000 years. It kept war away. It kept life safe. But today we see cracks. We see refusal. We see a new voice. He looked at John. Ambassador Carter, you spoke one line. It shattered our order. Speak now. What do you want? John stood. He looked around the room, at the tall crystals, the hard shells, the floating clouds, the fur, scales, feathers, skin. I want what you say you already have, he said. Real peace, not forced silence, not one side always giving, not obedience dressed as harmony. He paused. Humanity offers a path. Partnership, equals at the table. We share knowledge. We share strength. We share mistakes, so no one repeats them. But we will not kneel, not to you, not to anyone. The room stayed quiet. John kept going. Change the covenant, or let it fall, but do not pretend it still works. The galaxy has grown. It wants choice. Give it choice. He sat. Thalix looked down. Light moved slow inside him. Then he spoke. We will vote. Open vote. No hidden hands. Each species says yes or no. The vote began. One by one. Small species stood first. Xera, yes. The miners, yes. The farmers, yes. The desert traders, yes. More followed. Waves of yes. Elder races waited. Some said no. Some stayed silent. Thalix spoke last. He looked at the chamber, at the faces watching him. Then he said one word. Yes. His body glowed soft white. Not angry, not dim, calm. The covenant flickered. Lights dimmed across the hall, then brightened again, but different. The old enforcer protocols shut down. New code flowed in. Code that allowed choice. Code that let worlds defend themselves. Code that listened. No war came. No fleets burned. Instead, talks began. Real talks. Long talks. John stayed on Valor. He met with everyone. He listened. He spoke. Laura took notes. They worked day and night. The galaxy changed slow, but sure. New alliances formed, not against anyone, For everyone. Trade opened wider, borders softened, stories shared. The covenant became something new, not a chain, a bridge. And through it all, one line echoed. Humanity will not kneel. It did not start a war. It ended a long sleep. John Carter never fired a weapon. He never raised a fist. He spoke, and the stars listened. The Galactic Council chamber on Vara Prime filled fast. Lights burned bright. Delegates from every corner of space hurried to their seats. The air felt thick with worry. Screens showed the same thing everywhere. The human transmissions still looping, silos open, words clear and cold. Come and try. Delegate Vorn stood at the center again. His silver skin looked dull under the lights. He spoke loud to hide the shake in his voice. This is a bluff. A last scream from a dying world. We must send the sterilizers now. No delay. A delegate from the scaled Dracon race hissed. You saw the message. They know our plan. They show their weapons. We should talk first. Vorn waved a hand. Talk? To primitives? They will fold when our ships arrive. But others were not so sure. The insect traders from Zeth clicked their mandibles fast. Our spies in deep space caught human signals. All over their planet, factories run again. Old plants that made cars now build parts for ships. People line up to join armies. They move like one mind. Another delegate, a soft-skinned being from the water worlds, spoke quietly. Telescopes see changes. Lights on dark sides of their moon. New structures in orbit. They prepare. Vorn stared at the screens. Images zoomed in. Cities that looked broken now had fresh smoke from chimneys. Roads filled with trucks carrying metal and fuel. Ports loaded big crates onto waiting ships. No panic, just hard work. On Earth, the change happened fast. President Emily Carter stood in a big room under the White House. Maps covered the walls. Screens showed live feeds from every country. Leaders from other nations joined by video. All faces serious. We have months, maybe less, Emily said. The aliens think we are weak. We prove them wrong. No more fighting each other. We share everything now. Plans, weapons, minds. One leader asked, "What if they come sooner?" "Then we fight sooner," Emily answered. "But we do not wait. We build, we train, we stand ready." Across the world, people heard the call. In Detroit, Chris Morales worked in a big garage. He fixed cars for years. Now he led a team of mechanics. They took old truck frames and added armor plates. They welded guns from factory parts. Chris wiped sweat from his face. If they want a fight, we'll give them one they remember. In a quiet university lab, Megan Thompson sat at her computer. She was a language expert. She listened to alien replies that started coming in. Some were threats. Some asked questions. "Why do you resist?" one said. Megan typed answers in simple code. She sent them back. "Because this is our home." Factories that made toys now made drones. Shipyards that built cruise ships changed to warships. Scientists shared old secrets and new ideas. Everyone worked long hours. The fear turned into fire. Then came the first test. A Kalorian scout ship jumped into the outer edges of the solar system. It was small, fast, and shiny. The captain sent a message on open channels. "Humans of Earth, this is the Kalorian vessel Light of Order. Surrender now. Your resistance ends here. Prepare for inspection." The message reached Cheyenne Mountain. Robert Hayes read it. He looked at his team. "They want to talk. We answer." From a hidden platform in the Kuiper Belt, far past Pluto, a railgun waited. It was built in secret years ago. No one talked about it. Now its crew got the order. One shot, a long metal rod, no explosives, just speed. It flew silent through the dark. The scout ship never saw it coming. The rod hit the hull at high speed. Metal tore like paper. The ship broke apart in a quiet flash. No sound in space. Just light, then nothing. The pieces drifted. The message stopped. Cheers came soft at first, then loud. Robert smiled. First blood. The galaxy watched too. Every telescope pointed at Saul. They saw the flash. They saw the scout vanish. Whispers spread fast. On trade stations, aliens gathered around screens. One shot, from far away, they hit a moving target. In fleet command rooms, officers stared. How did they know we were there? Vorn got the report in his private room. He sat alone. His blue eyes dimmed. For the first time, he felt doubt. The primitives had teeth. More alien ships came closer. Not big fleets yet, just scouts, probes, small groups testing the edges. Each time, Earth answered. A drone swarm here, a missile there, a laser from an old satellite-turned weapon. Not all hits worked. Some alien ships escaped, but each loss hurt them more than expected. On Earth, the work never stopped. Chris Morales finished his first armed freighter. It looked ugly, boxy, patched together. He named it Hope's Hammer. We'll send it out when they come close. Megan Thompson decoded more messages. Some aliens wanted peace. Others wanted war. She sent replies. We defend our home. Nothing more, nothing less. President Carter walked through a factory at night. Workers looked up. She shook hands. You are the reason we still breathe, she told them. They nodded. No words needed. In space, the first real fight waited. The aliens gathered a small attack group. 5 ships. They jumped toward the asteroid belt. They thought humans had no defense there. They were wrong. Hidden among the rocks, human ships waited. Small, quiet, armed with everything people could build fast. When the aliens arrived, the trap closed. Explosions lit the dark. Ships twisted and burned. Human pilots flew close, fired, then pulled away. One alien ship tried to run. A railgun from Earth caught it. It broke in half. They sent one message back. The humans fight like they have nothing to lose. On Vara Prime, the council met again. Voices rose. Some wanted to pull back. Others wanted more ships. Vorn stayed quiet. He watched the reports. Each one showed the same thing. A small world refused to die. And the galaxy started to wonder. What if they were the ones who made a mistake? The coalition fleet gathered at the edge of known space. Ships from 13 species floated together in perfect formation. Kalorian dreadnoughts led the way. Huge black triangles with glowing blue engines. Behind them came Drakon cruisers with sharp red hulls, Zeth carriers full of small fighter swarms, and Vorath scouts that moved like birds. Over 200 ships in total. They looked unstoppable. Delegate Vorn watched from the flagship bridge. His silver hands rested on the command rail. They are one small world, he said. We end this today. The fleet jumped. Space folded. Stars stretched into lines. When they arrived, they were just outside the asteroid belt, close enough to see Earth's blue dot in the distance. Sensors lit up at once. Mines, thousands of them, small black spheres drifting among the rocks, some old, some new, all armed. The lead dreadnought fired warning shots. Beams cut through space. Mines exploded in bright flashes. But more came. The fleet slowed. They pushed forward carefully. Then the drones appeared. Swarm after swarm rose from hidden hollows in the asteroids. Tiny human ships, no bigger than fighters, but fast and smart. They carried simple missiles and railgun darts. They did not attack in waves. They struck and ran, hit engines, hit weapons, hit sensors. The coalition lost 10 ships before they even reached the inner system. On the human side, the new carrier John Paul Jones waited at the L4 Lagrange point. Major Robert Hayes stood on the bridge. He wore a fresh uniform. His face looked tired but steady. Around him, young pilots sat at controls. Many had been students or workers just months ago. Now they flew for their world. "Enemy fleet entering the outer defense line," a voice said. "They are pushing hard." Robert nodded. "Launch all wings. Hold the line." They looked mismatched. Some old jets with new engines, some built from scratch. But the pilots flew tight. They knew the space around Sol like their own homes. Laura Bennett worked in the intelligence room below the bridge. Screens covered the walls. She studied alien movements. She had spent weeks learning their patterns from old probes and the first scout fights. Now she spoke into her headset. "They will split here. Send half to flank the moon, the other half straight at Earth." Robert trusted her. He gave the orders. Human ships moved to block both paths. The battle started in earnest. First clash came at the asteroid belt. Coalition ships fired heavy beams. Human drones died by the hundreds. But each death bought time. Mines kept exploding. One Zeth carrier lost its main engine. It drifted helpless. Human boarding teams, small shuttles full of soldiers in heavy suits, latched on. They fought inside corridors, hand to hand, turned its guns on its friends. Farther in, at Mars orbit, the dreadnoughts met the main human fleet. 20 big carriers and battleships waited. They looked small next to the enemy, but they fought dirty. One human ship, Hope's Hammer, the ugly freighter Chris Morales built, charged straight at a Kalorian cruiser. It fired everything it had, missiles, lasers. Then it kept coming. The enemy tried to pull away. Too late. Hope's Hammer rammed the side. Nuclear charges inside the hull went off. Both ships vanished in a white fireball. The coalition felt the shock. Their perfect line broke. Robert watched from the bridge. All ships, use the debris. Hide in it. Strike from cover. Human pilots did. They flew through exploding wrecks, used the junk as shields, fired when the enemy looked away. On the flagship, Vorn stared at the screens. Losses climbed. 30 ships gone. Then 40. His voice stayed calm. They cannot last. But they did. At Earth-Moon space, the fight turned brutal. Alien ships tried to reach orbit. Human orbital platforms, old stations turned into forts, fired railguns non-stop. Big slugs punched through armor. One dreadnought lost its bridge. It spun out of control and crashed into the moon. Dust rose in slow motion. Boarding parties landed on others. Soldiers in spacesuits cut through hulls, fought room by room. They used simple weapons, rifles, grenades, knives. The aliens had better tech, but humans had anger and numbers. Megan Thompson sat in a bunker on Earth. She listened to alien chatter. She sent false signals, made the enemy think attacks came from wrong places, confused them, bought seconds that saved ships. Days passed, 3 full Earth days, no sleep for most. Food came in packs, water in tubes, eyes burned, hands shook, but no one quit. On the 4th morning, the coalition flagship turned. It sent one message on open channels. "We withdraw. This fight costs too much." The remaining ships followed. They jumped away. Trails of debris followed them. Over half the fleet never left Sol space. Silence fell over the battle zone. Wreckage floated everywhere. Human ships limped home. Many were broken. Many pilots did not return. Robert stood on the bridge. He looked out at the quiet stars. "We held," he said softly. Cheers came weak but real. People hugged. Some cried. Laura walked up to him. "They will come back. Bigger next time." Robert nodded. "Then we build bigger. We fight smarter." On Earth, people watched the live feeds. Factories kept running. Volunteers kept signing up. The scars showed. burned cities from stray shots, radiation from nuclear blasts, but the planet still turned, still breathed. In the galaxy, the news spread like fire. Trade stations went quiet when the survivors arrived. Captains told stories. They fought like cornered animals, but smarter. They used everything, even their dead ships. Vorn sat alone in his quarters. His silver skin looked cracked under the lights. He stared at nothing. For the first time in centuries, an ancient race felt small. The line in the void held. Earth still stood, and the universe knew the small blue world meant every word it sent. The council chamber on Vara Prime felt different now. The lights seemed dimmer. The air felt heavier. Delegates sat in their seats without the usual calm talk. Many looked at the empty spot where Delegate Vorn used to stand. He was gone. He stepped down the day after the fleet came home broken. No one spoke his name anymore. A new voice led the meeting. Delegate Kalia from the Vorath race stood tall. Her feathers were soft gray. She spoke without anger. We lost too much. Our ships are gone. Our people are dead. The humans did not beg. They fought, and they won the day. Screens showed the wreckage around Sol, twisted metal, frozen bodies in spacesuits, empty hulls drifting like ghosts. Over 100 coalition ships never returned. The survivors told stories that spread fast. Humans used tricks no one expected. They turned junk into weapons. They fought in ways that broke every rule of war. A Zeth delegate clicked slowly. We must talk now, not fight. Another attack will cost more. Maybe everything. Others nodded. Even the Draken hissed agreement. The old ways failed. A new path opened. They sent the message to Earth. It came on a single, clean frequency. No threats, no demands, just words. To the people of Earth, we offer terms. We recognize your world as sovereign. We draw a buffer zone around your system. No ships enter without permission. We open contact, trade, knowledge, peace, if you accept. The message reached Cheyenne Mountain first. Robert Hayes read it. He sat quiet for a long time. Then he sent it up the chain. In the White House, President Emily Carter gathered her team. Maps still covered the walls. Some showed red scars from the battle, ruined cities, poisoned land, lost lives. She looked at each face. They want peace now, because we made them pay. Laura Bennett stood nearby. She had not slept much. Her eyes were red. We can trust this? Emily thought, but we stay ready. Earth answered carefully. President Carter recorded the reply herself. Her voice stayed even. We accept your terms. The buffer zone stands. Our ships will meet yours at the edge. We talk, we trade. But hear this clearly. We sent one message. Do not require a second. The words went out. Simple. Final. Months passed. The first meeting happened at the edge of the buffer. Neutral ground. A small station built fast by both sides. Human ships arrived first. Clean, new carriers with bright paint. Coalition ships came slow. No big dreadnoughts. Just small envoys. They met face to face. Humans in plain uniforms. Aliens in their strange skins and scales. Translators hummed. No one smiled much. But no one raised weapons. Talk started small. Trade rules, maps, warnings about old mines still floating. Then bigger things. Science, history, stories of lost worlds. Humans shared music and books. Aliens shared star charts and healing tech. On Earth, the rebuilding began. Cities that burned got new walls. Factories turned back to making homes and food. Radiation zones got cleaned slow. People planted trees again. Kids played in streets without fear. Chris Morales went back to his garage in Detroit. He fixed cars now, real ones, not weapons. But he kept Hope's hammer in a shed, just in case, he told his friends. Megan Thompson worked in a new office. She helped teach alien languages to young students. She smiled when they got the words right. Robert Hayes retired from the carrier. He moved to a small house by the sea. He watched the waves. Sometimes he looked at the stars. He knew they watched back. Laura Bennett stayed in spacework. She helped build the first joint station, humans and aliens, side by side. She liked the quiet nights when the galaxy looked peaceful. Years went by. Human ships started to appear in neutral ports, not asking for help, coming as equals. They traded metal and stories. They bought strange foods and tools. They sold art and ideas. The galaxy changed its whisper. Old races talked about the blue world that refused to die. Young species looked at Earth with new eyes, not as primitives, as proof that small things can stand tall. One night, President Carter stood on the White House lawn. She looked up. Stars filled the sky, no fear in them now, just light. She thought about the old transmission, the silos, the silence that broke. She thought about every person who worked, fought, and lived through it. A soft wind blew. She spoke quiet words to the night. We are still here. And somewhere far away, on distant worlds, the same truth echoed. Some planets do not wait for permission. When they speak, the stars listen. And when they fight, the universe remembers.